Boss ass bitch. Boss bitch. Boss ass bitch. Boss bitch. Boss ass bitch.
Ooh. Oh, you guys caught me playing with my baby's toys. Whoops. Yo, what's going on, everyone? Happy to be here to report, to check in after a race win, and just going to run you through the whole thing. I'm going to start with a quick little outline of how the race went. Nothing too extensive, and then I'll get into some of the implications of what it means and where I'm at with my performance-wise as an evaluation. So let's just jump right in. Obviously, St. George, wake up, I get out there. I'm feeling decent, but just kind of sort of sensing the nerves. I'm not feeling like quite in the zone yet. So I'm going out, I'm warming up, I'm getting ready to race. The bike's all set up. And here's the thing, it was a full moon out there, right? So it's a full moon this day, and Sand Hollow is just absolutely gorgeous. So I'm warming up on the dirt trail. It's just me out there. I've got the full moon on one side and the sun's starting to come up on the other side. So we've got all these beautiful colors coming, and I'm just all alone. I've got my Beats headphones on. I'm, playing Lose Yourself by Eminem, and suddenly I'm just beside myself. I'm getting in the zone, and suddenly I just start like howling like I'm a werewolf. I'm going, "Ow!" And I'm just like, I am just amped. And suddenly, by doing that little ritual, it got me in the zone, and I suddenly felt like, okay, I'm ready to race. I feel like I'm going to have a really good day, and I'm going to perform well. So then head back, start to get ready, do my little warm-up swim, and now we're on the line, and the gun's about to go off. So then, boom, okay, let's get going, taking my strokes, breathing really hard. I actually had a great start. I was like right on Mark Dubrick's feet at like 25 meters, which of course it's only 25 meters, but then kind of settling in. And then at 300 meters, I was suffering. I was breathing really heavy, breathing really hard. And the little monster inside me, excuse me, the little monster inside me started to tell me, you can't do this, Sam. You can't do this. You're not good enough. Slow up the pace. Let these guys go. This is too hard. This isn't sustainable. And yet, okay, suddenly my mantra for the race came for me. And so I read a lot of Stoic philosophy. I'm quite into it. And so anyways, this week's lessons were on Abraham Lincoln and some of his philosophy. And so the words that he gave during the Civil War, one of his most famous words came to me. This too shall pass. This too shall pass. And that came to me, and suddenly I was like, this too shall pass. I can weather this storm. I can weather this surging at the start of this swim, and it will die down. And I just kept breathing, and sure enough, it died down. And I did it. Suddenly I was in the group. Suddenly it was easy. We got to the turn buoys. Of course, it always accelerates around the turn buoys. Did that. And then finally, coming back in, final 500 meters, I actually then started to get like worried mentally because it felt so easy. I felt like I was barely working. And I started to think, oh gosh, I'm probably way too far back. If it feels easy, it probably means that I'm not swimming well, that I'm going to be too far back. And I just kind of had this concern and these worries. So anyways, I exit. The announcer goes, and we've got Jackson Laundry coming out. We've got Andre Lopez, and we've got Matt Hansen, and we've got one other guy, because they weren't used to me being that far up front. They didn't know who I was. So then, and this is the best moment of the whole race, the announcer goes, and it's Sam Long out of the water. And suddenly, right, because all the age groupers, as it's a rolling start, they're all lined up ready to get in, and they erupt. Woo! And so suddenly, at first it just starts, 2 or 3 of them put up their hands to give me a high five, and I start doing it, and suddenly they're all like, everyone's cheering me on, and I look ahead and I see suddenly like there's like 400 meters of high fives to give. And to be honest, that was like the highlight of the whole race. And with the dedication and the discipline that I put into my swimming, having a swim like this meant the absolute world to me. It was everything for me, you see. And so anyways, physically, maybe I gave up 5-10 seconds there to give a few high fives, but mentally it gave me that extra edge, and I feel totally confident I got more than those 10 seconds back. So go through transition, and yet another decisive moment of the race comes, because we do this U-turn. So I see, I viewed the main competitors of this race as being Jackson Laundry and being Lionel Sanders. And so I swam with Jackson. So I'm like, okay, that's objective number one. And then as I'm coming back from the U-turn, I hear the announcer say, and Lionel Sanders is out of the water. So I'm like, the moment is now. This is when I grab the race by the horns and seize it, and it becomes my day. I got to get up to the front. I got to get rid of these guys. I got to prove my mark on the race. And so as soon as I hit my bike, it was boom, as hard as I can possibly go. As hard as I can go, right? And looking at the watch a little bit, and the first 10 minutes were 6 minutes were 410 watts, and I'm passing all the other people, and I'm kind of getting a sense of, okay, is Jackson here? And then at 6 minutes, we go, and I can see up the road, and I see the lead moto. So suddenly I'm like, whoa, the lead moto's right there. I'm like, I'm just going to keep up on it and get up into the front. So stay on the gas, still over 400 watts. At 17 minutes, the power was still over 400, and I caught up to Dylan Gillespie. And now at this point, and I look back and I see, okay, I didn't bring anyone else with me. This is the perfect situation. I kind of take a deep breath and I go, okay, let's just settle in. Let's work with Dylan. And hats off to Dylan. He was a great sport, great to ride with. He started to suffer at times, but he still wanted to prove his worth, and so he would take some pulls, and we worked well together. And the bike was relatively uneventful for a while. But now we get to the next part of the race course, and this part of the race course was just about being ambitious. It was like a personal thing, and it's yet another story. So without getting into the details of last October, the 70.3 World Champs, we know I had a tough day. We know I had the penalty and so on and so forth. But there's actually another story to this that I haven't told you guys yet, right? So shortly thereafter, my girlfriend got pregnant, right? And guess what? They tell you the exact conception date. The conception date was the night before 70.3 Worlds in October. And that year, we happened to be staying right at the base of Snow Canyon. So my baby was quite literally conceived in Snow Canyon. So going into this race, I had said to myself, I am riding Snow Canyon for my baby boy. So I hit this, and it's just pop. Let's go, let's go, let's go. And here's the other thing. I normally tend to race with more of the negative emotions, kind of anger and channeling into that. But in this moment, I was just racing on all positive emotions, just love and positivity and happiness. And I'm looking at Snow Canyon, and it's just so beautiful. And I'm going, I'm just doing this for Leo. I mean, I've never had so much fun riding hard, and of course it was hard, but it was so fun. So then over 400 watts again for the whole Snow Canyon part, just kind of cruise down the descent. As I start the run, I kind of see, okay, boom, I'm 3 minutes ahead, 2 minutes and 50 seconds ahead of Trevor and Jackson. And at that moment, I was very confident. I just said, okay, I want to negative split this run if possible. I wasn't wearing a watch, so of course there's no way for me to know if I actually did that, but I just said take the first lap pretty relaxed, and then kind of push the second lap. And yeah, there wasn't really too much to say about the run. I knew I had it secured at that point. Got to the finish line, and of course was super happy, and won St. George for the first time. And I've been going to St. George a lot, and so I think it shows you just don't ever want to give up in life. And if you have a personal ambition, if you have a personal dream, to keep pursuing it. So what are some of the implications? What's been going on with my coaching? Who's my coach? Let me tell you guys, I am my coach now. I am my coach now. After Oceanside, I made an executive decision that I had to fire Dan Plews. Now, it just wasn't the right fit for me. It's not to say I think the training was great. I think it would work for a lot of people. I'm only a sample size of one person. And I think if we look at the definition of a pro triathlete, right? If we look at a degree of excellence, and we look at the bell curve, right? Most people fit in the bell curve. If you are a top professional, you fit outside of the bell curve. And so I'm an outlier and I just need different types of things to work for my training. I learned, okay, I get off on these big, hard days. I think both physiologically, but also mentally, it's what gives me my edge. The shootout, like, just so helps take me to another level. And I know my body really well. I know it works for me. I learned tons with the period, but it just wasn't for me. So I implemented my own training for the last like 5-6 weeks, and it was really fun for me to do. But I also have really enjoyed taking on like the whole responsibility, right? Executing the day-to-day training as an athlete, having to execute on race day, but also being in charge of the big plan, making sure I don't train too hard, making sure I train hard enough, making sure the workouts are right, and paying attention to what my weaknesses and strengths are and building those. And so I think it's like even a longer road of learning, like, I got to trust myself more. And I went down this path the last, I don't know, 9 or 10 months, thinking that I needed like science and I needed all these extra things to help me keep my edge. But the edge has always been within me. It's always been within me. And so I think here's the overarching point too, is society, we have a common notion in society as adults that we can't make a change in a relatively short period of time, that we got to give it years or a year or at the very least like 6 months to see a positive change. And I have to tell you, I completely disagree with this. And I think having Laura be pregnant, right? The time frame to grow a baby, to have a baby from conception to when it comes out is 10 months. So in 3 months you grow, which is how long I was with my coach, you grow 1/3 of a baby. And I'm watching this and I'm watching Laura's body change constantly, and it's making me think like, okay, I can grab the bull by the horns and make a change. And it's this fine line between knowing when do you need to stick through with something and be patient, and when do you need to know to trust yourself that it's not working for you and that you need to make a change. And let me tell you, for me, I made that change, I implemented it, I worked hard, and I saw huge improvement. And I encourage you with all my heart to not think the same. If you are thinking, I can't make a change in a year, I can't make a change in 6 months, I can't make a change in my life in 3 months. And I'm not just talking in sport, I'm talking if you want to be a better dad, if you want to be a better doctor, whatever it is in your life that you want to be better at, you can improve at it in a short period of time. Not overnight, no, but if you work hard, you can improve in a week, you can improve in a few weeks, and if you stay at it for a long time, you will see massive, massive improvement. Finally, okay, what's my last take-home message about my analysis? Well, there's a few. The swim is what I am absolutely the most happy about. Swimming has not come easy for me my whole career. It's something that I've struggled with at times. It's also something that's taught me so much about dedication and grit and getting the most out of myself. And I feel I've found a process now to continue to see improvement at the swim. And I'm loving the swim. I'm loving showing up. I'm loving everyday swimming. And so I think I'm just scratching the surface. And the swim was, hands down the best part of the day for me. And I just can't wait to continue that work. And then we saw, right, I implemented new and different tactics. The sport's changing. I didn't expect to win on the bike. I purposely kind of viewed this, even though then at a certain point after 15 minutes, I could have just rode steady. I wanted to kind of practice surging because I think that's more where our sport is. So overall, first win of the season. Up next this weekend is Gulf Coast. So feeling in a great spot. Looking forward to continuing to crush it. And yeah, the season is just getting started, and I'm really looking forward to continuing to coach myself. Oh, one last thing on diet, right? Lots of questions about my diet. I have gone back to higher carbs with racing. So I'm now, I believe I was at about 120 grams of carbs an hour. And I think that worked well for me. So thanks so much for tuning in. We'll see you at the next one. Please like, comment, subscribe, and yo, baby. Cheers.
Samuel, what are you doing?
Well, I walked in the house with my shoes on to grab my Wahoo running watch, and apparently I got black spots on the floor, which, to be honest, I can't even see, but the pregnant lady's demanding that I clean them up, so I'm getting my microscope out to clean it. I think there's a little mark here. And this is how I'm preparing everyone to hopefully go and win gold medals.
Boss ass bitch.